This is for the players.
I'm Ryan Betson from the Pop Culturist, and I'm sitting here with Daniel from Media Molecule. We are sitting in the DreamDome, the Dreamsphere.
Yeah, DreamDome. That's what's on the wall. So,
at PAX Australia 2018. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Getting through. Great audience of people to demo to.
We're right in the smack end of Sunday. So, how has the reception of Dreams been so far here?
It's been really good. Lots of light bulbs have come on. Dreams is something that's really hard to explain, like in words, but it's good to see, like, once I get to show it and introduce people to it, they're like, oh, and they start to see like what you can do with it, basically.
So you're seeing a lot of the light bulbs go on, the cogs turn, and the people when they come and sit in the sphere.
Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of people that just like leave with their like eyes wide open. And thinking about all the things they can do and asking really good questions about like, oh, can I do this and how would I do that? And yeah, it's really good.
And so personally, like, because I've spent the last X amount of time thinking I don't know how Dreams is working as a game. However, after sitting in here and seeing it, I'm like, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than just a regular game. It's essentially a tool set.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a whole like ecosystem of creativity. It's going to be we're making a game within the game, and we're shipping it, we're selling it as a game because we want people to sort of know they can play stuff. We can't be like, oh, it's a game engine with, you know, all these other tools, and you never need to leave it, and you can just make all of this stuff. You know, that's too much of a mouthful. We have to be like, hey, look, there's this cool game, and also you can make other stuff like it and not like it, and it's amazing. Yeah. So it's got all this stuff.
So as you mentioned, that has been the biggest hurdle, trying to get people to really understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what we're doing with streams and what we do at shows, like we tend to do a lot of demos. We do demos like what I'm doing here, and all of our sort of our demos in other places. Because we need to show people. We need someone. They need to see us using the PlayStation controller and make cool stuff. And that's when that happens. But then, and so it's a really hard game to show these kinds of things. That's why we've got this dome rather than just like a row of kits.
Well, even as you mentioned, you're bringing over the slogan from Little Big Planet with the play, create, share. Oh, sorry, whatever the order is that right?
Play, create,
share.
Play, create, share.
Yeah. So that's the motto coming into this as well. So it's being handled pretty much the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just another way to sort of get a few people across, like people that have played Little Big Planet, like they understand that when you say, oh, like 8 million levels have been made in Little Big Planet since it launched or whatever, people go, oh, like, they start to understand that like there's going to be this content, and Play, Create, Share is just a good slogan. I'm not really sure if it's sort of what we're going with like overall and what we'll continue to go with, but, you know, it's just... There's a lot of little things I need to throw out there just to try and like get a few more people to understand like what this is going to be, and I mean I have to get to grips with what it's going to be. So like I understand.
So like, so in the Game Informer piece, it does mention that this game is literally endless in what you can build outside of an MMO. Is it really that huge?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's huge. I'd say it's powerful. Like it's a slightly different distinction, right? It's flexible. For me, like I have made a bunch of different stuff. I have made a pinball machine. I have made a tower defense game. I have made a like cubes with swords fighting on a pirate ship, like 4-player multiplayer thing. I've made a poem to a tree called Ode to a Tree, which was just like this weird thing where it was kind of like you'd sort of just go around this old gnarled tree and you'd like click on things and then it would sort of zoom in and zoom out, and it's like the timer changed. It was like, and it would be raining and there would be this sort of mournful music playing. It was a sapling instead of an old tree, and you'd be like, oh, what does this mean? And you'd like, the only thing you could do was like lift up the umbrella the person was holding above their head and it would sprout, and it would transition back to the old tree, and there was a few things like that. Like you can just make weird stuff.
I certainly wouldn't call it. I'd saw that quite artistically beautiful stuff.
Yeah, you can make weird stuff, you can make artistic stuff. The thing that gets me, the thing I'm really excited about, and we have a few instances that have really spoken to me so far, is the stuff that just wouldn't exist in anything else. Like there's some stuff that you just wouldn't make a game out of, you wouldn't make in Unity or any of the other engines, because you need to make it you need to make it justify the time. Whereas in Dreams, you can just make something and spend like a little bit of time on it and make something beautiful, make a love poem, be like, oh, here's my Mother's Day present is like this cool little thing that's reminiscing of something from your childhood. And I think the examples of that we've got that some people might have seen is like Please Hug Me, which is this weird just weird quirky game where you're trying to hug things and they won't let you, and they're willing to jump off a ledge to get away from you, and you're sort of just going around and going trying to get it. And that was made by one of the video editors, like not a part of the content team. And it just wouldn't exist, and it has this amazing sense of pathos, and it just gets everything across succinctly within the game mechanics. And another example is Dr. Rendezvous, which is like this International Space Station. You're like a shuttle trying to dock, and it's like brutally hard. And because you have to use your thrusters, and you have all the different like angling the things, and you have to like line up the little thing to dock the ship, and you're running out of fuel and oxygen and stuff, and it's really hard. But it's like a 5-10 minute experience, and then it's done. And there's no way you'd make a game out of that, but it's like poignant and hard, and so like someone's obviously crafted it with a lot of care. That was one of the web designers that made that.
So one of the things you sort of mentioned in the little presentation you had here was the idea that you could go hunting within the community itself to find music creators or design some other things that you may not be good at. Are you even finding that internally as you guys sort of mess about?
Every time I make something, I go, hey, Bogdan, can you make me a song?
Yeah.
What do you think about these sound effects? Every time I make something, I go, hey, Dan, can you... Dan Goddard, a different Dan. Can you like do some art for this? What do you reckon about this? And I might go and ask Kev, like, oh, I'm doing the logic this way, like, do you think there's a better way to do it maybe? And like, yeah, that collaboration is definitely a big thing. On the curation, or like the person that goes and picks things out, like we're trying to build a system, like we're trying to build an ecosystem of content, right? That's self-supporting and beautiful and wholesome, and fitting of like our Little Big Planet community that are these amazing, friendly, creative people. And so like things like curation is completely like actually just going around and finding stuff is a completely valid thing to be doing in Dreams. Like we reinforce that within like the sort of persona idea and stuff of like what you're doing and what you're contributing. Like you can go to curate stuff and that you get XP for that. You can go around and play stuff and you get XP for that, and you comment on things and like find bugs if you want. Like in other people's content, and that's going to be, it's all part of the ecosystem, and it's all valid because we're just trying to create this whole place.
Now, another thing that's been going on around the loop is the idea of a beta. I know it's been announced here and there, and that's fine. Like one of the big things you mentioned was the game's ready when it's ready, and I love that. So, is there still plans for a beta in the near future?
There's going to be a beta this year.
This year?
Yes, it's going to start this year.
Fantastic. Now, anything that's made in the beta, will that then be transferable for release?
That's part of the reason why we've taken so long with the beta, is because once we start, we are not deleting anything.
That's awesome.
We're not willing to let people come in and create something cool and then delete it. No. So like all the tech needs to be in place, everything needs to be in place so that we can just go forward.
Fantastic, man. So Dreams, no release date yet, but when it's out, it's coming in my hands. Thank you so much for your time, man.